I'm stood in Blackburn Museum and Art Gallery in front of what is probably our most important work of art. Why is it so important? It's because this is the world's first oil painting by a working class artist to achieve professional recognition. You can see the men working in the forge. The forge itself is a dark space. The blacksmiths are heating this piece of iron in the forge, and the only light comes as it spills out across the men's faces, illuminating the scene from the actual burning coal itself in the forge. In the background, you can see men wielding the enormous hammers that they would have needed to pound and shape the hot metal. It looks a very vigorous, dangerous environment. And this is where Sharples himself worked. So it's a tremendous snapshot of Victorian industry. This is the kind of stuff that made Britain, Victorian Britain, so important and so wealthy in the world. And it's so unusual for it to have been depicted. Conventional Victorian artists at the time weren't doing this kind of work, which makes it so important and so unusual. One of the charming things about it is the more you look, the more you see, because of course most of the painting is actually in shadow, but it's not just black. There's lots of detail in there for you to see. The guy who painted this picture, called The Forge, is actually born in Bury, and he went to work at the age of 10, and his job in a forge was to heat rivets to red heat for the boiler makers to be able to rivet their boilers together. An arduous job for anybody, let alone a 10-year-old, and he was doing 12-hour shifts. Whilst he was doing those 12-hour shifts, one of the things that really caught his eye was watching the boiler makers actually designing their boilers, actually sketching them out on the floor of the forge itself. So he decided that he started sketching, got a pencil, got some paper, started to sketch. But he realized, no matter how much he enjoyed doing it, he needed more information so he could actually train himself to be an artist. So this is what he set about doing. He was walking into Manchester to buy his artist materials, an 18-mile round trip. He's working extra shifts to earn the money to pay for them. And at the age of 19, he starts to paint this painting, which took him 2 years to finish. The painting itself was really well received because it's such an unusual topic. Sharples himself, his story in any age would be remarkable. He wanted to get some money because he wanted to be a professional artist, so he started to produce engravings of this painting, teaching himself to be an engraver, making his own tools. And he made a little bit of money, but sadly he was no businessman. So ultimately he had to go back to working in a foundry, in a forge like this, and he was doing that in Blackburn. By now he's working at the Canal Foundry in Blackburn, where he spent the rest of his working life. He died in poverty in 1893, and he's actually buried in Blackburn Cemetery. His family, his descendants, gave us this painting to hang on the gallery walls. So why don't you pop along and have a look at it and decide for yourself and admire James Sharples' work and achievement.